Okay, now I'm going to be talking about the sort of how writes flow and how writes are additive and how things sort of all work along. So if you have your org chart, sort of have on the side so you can sort of see where I'm going with this. I'm just going to take a real generic sample. In fact, I'll call it let's see. It's not letting me write. Come on. This is slow. Okay. Here's a sample directory. Underneath there, I'm going to have a subdirectory. And underneath there, I'm going to have a subdirectory. Okay, so that's my directory structure. As I give writes here, it is additive. Now the writes I'm going to be giving aren't going to make any sense. Like, why would you give somebody just erase writes? Well, the idea is to show how things are additive. So if I started out with, giving a specific person writes. So if I say that Sarah hang on. Okay, try this again. We say that Sarah. Okay, I think it's working. So if I give Sarah writes, it's a W. Sarah writes there. What can Sarah do in the sample directory? She can write. What can she do in the subdirectory? She can write. And the subdirectory, she can also write. So everything's going to be flowing down. Let's take a look over here. What if I say that operations I got two circles. Operations can create in the subdirectory. Well, you kind of, when you're in that directory, you work from that directory on up, trying to figure out, what you're doing. So if I start down the subdirectory, there's nothing listed. So I'm Sarah right now, and so nothing's listed there. So I really don't get any writes here. So nothing. Does ops, the next directory up, does ops pertain to me? Am I part of ops? Yes, I am. So I get a C write or a create write, and I go up to all the way to the root, up to sample, and I see that the W also applies to me because I am Sarah, and I get the writes. So I add all those together. This is all additive. So I have write plus create plus nothing gives me write and create. So that's my effective writes. If I was looking at that directory structure, if I looked under trustee writes in that directory using Windows Explorer, it would actually show, you would have write and create. Let me try to undo a bunch of this. And we'll keep Sarah with write up here. But now, let's just add some more. Underneath here, right underneath sample, I'll also put ops with create. Down on the subdirectory, I'm going to put is with file scan. And maybe I'll put Gropa with erase. And then way on the bottom for the subdirectory, I'm going to put sales having read writes. So if I'm looking at this example, if I am, let's say, Joshua, so I'm now trying to figure out what Joshua is going to have in each of these directories. So if I start the top directory, right in sample, What is Joshua going to be able to do? So does ops pertain to Joshua? No. Does Sarah pertain to Joshua? No. So I don't get any rights in the sample. So if I was looking at the sample directory, I would have no rights. Let's look at the subdirectory. Does Joshua pertain to IS? Is that going to affect any of my rights? No. How about Gropa? It does. Joshua is part of Gropa, so I'm going to get the erase rights at this level. So I get erase rights at that level. Looking at the subdirectory sales, I get read rights because I'm part of sales. But I have to keep going up as well. I also get the erase rights from the directory above it because these rights from Gropa are going to flow down in the subdirectory beneath it. Just like all of these will flow down into that directory, which will flow down into that directory. That's called inheritance. So if something applies to you, it's going to apply from that directory on down. So no matter where it starts, it's going to apply to you from that directory on down. Is that making sense? Yeah, okay. Let's take another example, though. We'll just do a sample directory. If I'm using Sarah again, and again, normally we wouldn't give rights to individual peoples, but just use this as an example. If I give Sarah write rights at this point, she would have write rights from there on down. However, if I reassign rights by using the exact same way that I give the rights, not by their role, not by their organizational unit, not by the organization, but if I actually say Sarah again and I give create rights, in this case, this only flows down to this level, and now this flows down the rest of the way. So you've just reassigned rights. You cannot add rights. It's not added. Everything else was additive so far. So if I had write rights and then create rights based on different objects, based on organizational units or roles or groups or whatever it's going to be, that's all additive. This does not add when you reassign the rights. So if you wanted Sarah to be able to write at the sample directory, but no longer write from a certain directory on down, then you just reassign her rights. Excuse me. A little bit more probably realistic would be if you wanted to let Sarah have all rights for a certain level. So read through file scan rights, and then suddenly from a certain level on down, you don't want her to have all rights. You just want her to be able to do a read and a file scan. So what normally would be flowing down from directory to directory to directory would now be reassigned. And that's a really important topic to work with as we start working through some of these more advanced directory structures and, rights. Now, everything else on our sample, though, if there's other directories, those still get the read-through file scan. So they're going to continue to flow on down into all the other directories. It's just not going to flow into this one because it's been reassigned. Let's use an example of accounting. And under accounting, we have accounts payable and we have accounts receivable. And as of right now, what we did right before break is we gave account, the organization using the account, all rights to the accounting folder, which makes perfect sense. If you're in accounting, you should be able to write to the accounting folder. Now, I'm not saying that this is the business sense of working this way. This is just an arbitrary scenario, so just go with that. Don't go into your accounting department and say this is the way you have to do it. But say that we do have accounts payable and accounts receivable. We really, really want to keep them separate. In fact, I don't even want them to see each other. That the people who get the money shouldn't be intermingling with the people who give the money. So we're trying to keep those things really, really separate. So how would I do that? Well, using the idea of reassigning rights, right now everybody in accounting has all access to that folder and all the folders beneath that. I'm going to reassign the accounting group, not group, container rights at these levels. And I'm going to reassign them with nothing. Now that's completely different than deleting their entry. And when we get to the screen of actually working with this, I'll show you how it's different. So an object with no rights is different than no object at all. No object at all doesn't mean anything. Whatever comes down flows down or whatever. An object with no rights, just right at that point, reassign the rights. So now that read through file scan will no longer flow down into there because you just reassign the rights. We're going to do the same thing under accounts receivable. And we're going to put no rights there as well. Well, that means that nobody will have rights to the accounts payable and accounts receivable directories. Who should have access to the accounts payable folder? The account payable people. Well, who are they? Well, it's the container called accounts payable. And we will give them read through file scan rights. And accounts receivable, read through file scan rights. Is that making sense there? I'm going to write it all out and we'll work through it and then we'll actually implement it. You really need to be writing these things out though. As we go through all these scenarios, I'm going to write them out because once you're in it, you're in the midst of it, you can't see the whole picture. You can only see a directory at a time and you're very, very focused. And you'd have to have that all in your mind, like who has what rights and where and why. So writing it all out and drawing it out on a piece of paper, get in the practice of doing that. It's like any kind of logic problems or any kind of math problems. Don't try to figure it in your head and keep it all straight. Write it out, and it's all very, very clear of what the intent is going to be. Now, I do have this accounting manager, though. What am I going to do with this accounting manager? Well, let's just say, for the sake of this scenario, that for this accounting manager, I want the accounting manager to be able to read the files, but not be able to change them. Again, trying to keep that whole accounting process really clean as far as not having one person, not the manager, being able to access or change things in both. Now, he's still the manager, so we want to watch it and be able to be aware of things, but not necessarily change things. So I could put the manager down here with a read and file scan. And I could put the manager down here with a read and file scan. And that'd be perfectly legitimate. It's going to work perfectly fine. It's going to do exactly what you want to do. However, you're always looking at trying to optimize things. How can I make this better? How can I use this whole idea of inheritance to my advantage and make things sort of work a little bit easier and smoother and, you know, overall really, really nice? What can I do here? I could put the manager with read and file scan rights up there instead. What would be the advantage of that? Yeah, a lot less work. Say I decided that I wanted him to have all rights. I do it in one place and let the inheritance flow down. Now, how's that going to work, though? So the manager is only going to have read and file scan rights in the accounting folder? Well, that doesn't make much sense for a manager to be able to do that. Is that the case here? Not completely. Take a look at the accounting folder. Joshua is part of the manager role, correct? part of the organizational role called manager. So yeah, I'm going to get read and file scan, but I'm also a part of the accounting container, right? So it's additive. So I get read and file scan plus read, write, erase, create, modify, and file scan. So what do you get when you add those two together? You get read, write, erase, create, modify, and file scan. You don't get to write twice or see twice by having two file scans. It's just a simple on or off, but it's always additive. So I just added those two things together, and Joshua can do everything in that folder. Let's implement this right now and see if it does it what I want to do, and then how it's going to be done. So write this down, keep track of it somewhere. I'm going to switch back, and we're going to do this. This is where writing it down will be really important. Let's take a look at the accounting directory. And you're just copying it right off the sheet at this point, because once you start, if you're looking at this screen and trying to mentally figure out what's going to go here, it's just going to be really cumbersome. So now it's like, okay, I'm in the accounting directory. Let's take a look at my notes. Accounting. So I should have two entries in there. One should be the accounting container with read through file scan rights, and the other one should be the manager with read and file scan. So let's give that a shot. I'm going to browse, and I'm going to look for accounting, and here's accounting. So here's the accounting object, and I add the trustee. And I give them all rights. I look at my list. I should also have the manager. So let me browse for the manager. I click on the tree. I click on Gropa. I click on accounting. And I have the accounting manager. I'm going to select the accounting manager role. Not Andrew. I'm going to choose the accounting manager role. I'm going to add the trustee. But according to my list here on the piece of paper, it says that I should only give him, or the role, read and file scan rights. And that's what I do. And I can see that's what that is. I'm done here. I can move on to my other directories. I want to go back up to the directory listing for accounting, and I have AP and AR. Let me start with AP. Again, like now would be a bad time to try to think through all this. So switch back to your document, and it says I need two entries here as well. I need accounting with no rights, and then AP with all rights. So let's put those in. I'm going to navigate for accounting. And this time when the rights lists come up, I'm going to remove them. And when I do that, you can see that under the trustee list over here, there's nothing in it. So if you click on it, there's nothing there. This, again, is completely different than not existing. So by me not giving you rights is different than saying nothing, because I'm stopping that inheritance from coming down from right here by putting that entry in there. If I didn't put that entry in there, accounting rights would flow on down through everything. Okay, I also need to add another trustee, and that would be the accounts payable container. Click on the tree, click on Gropa, click on accounting, and now I'm going to click on the selection for accounts payable. I want them to have all rights, so I click OK, and now they have all rights. Go back up a directory, so I'm going to the accounting, the AP directory. I need to go up one level, though, to get back to AR. And I click on AR, and I want to browse. I'm going to do the same thing here as I just did in AP. A Gropa, accounting, and then AP with everything. And I want to do accounting with nothing. The order doesn't matter, by the way. There is no, it doesn't go in sequential order, like, oh, if I do this one first, then you get these rights. If I go this one first, it's all additive. So it does not have any precedence as far as order. And it just does it alphabetically anyway, I believe. So I have accounting, I'm sorry, AP with everything, and I have accounting with nothing. I kind of think through that, check my notes again. It's like, yep, that's what I should have. So let's go ahead and log in and try it. Yes. Oh, did I make a mistake there? Okay. APAR. Yep. Good. Thank you. I missed that one. So delete here. And yep, I want to delete that. It's gone. I just clicked on the wrong one. Thank you for pointing that out. That would have been a great scenario once we logged in. Like, why doesn't this work? Yes, much better. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So let's try this all out. Actually, I think I have to fix something on my, I have to log back. If you wait on iManager too long, it actually times out. So let's go back. That's such a good thing. That's not a bad thing by any means. I don't think Andrew has a password for some reason. Come on. There we go. So I'm going to log in as Andrew because Andrew's the manager right now. So and I forgot the B on him too. So click on accounting. You want to log in as Andrew? Yes, I do. So now I'm logged in as Andrew. Let me close my browser so it's less distracting. Here's my data directory, my data volume. I have two directories, accounting and shared. Underneath shared, everybody has access to everything under shared. Under accounting, I see accounts payable and account receivable. If I go back a level and I right-click on accounting, I can click on trustee rights, and I can see that I have all rights: read, write, erase, create, modify, and file scan. So in the accounting folder, I can still do anything that I want. I can create a text document called accounting procedures so that everybody can see them. I can also make new folders, new folder called, 2013 budget. And so it's all just a big shared directory, space that we can do anything. It just gets special when those two special directories come in, which is accounts payable, account receivable. If I right-click on them and look at trustees, I can see that I can only read and file scan in the accounts payable directory. And if I go to accounts receivable, I can only do the same thing, so read and file scan. So if there's a folder or a file in here, I'd be able to open it up. I'd be able to see what's going on, sort of manage and watch anything, but I wouldn't be able to manipulate anything or change anything. If I try to create something new in here, like a new folder, it just says, nope, not going to happen. So that's logging in as the manager. Let's try Daniel. Daniel is a person in accounting, and let's see what happens with him. So I'm going to log in as Daniel. And Daniel is in accounts payable. So I'm changing my context to account payable for him to log in. And now I'm still part of Garopa, so everybody gets to see the shared things. I'm going to, in fact, create some documents just to make it so it's not a blank folder all the time. Shared document, a new folder, company recipes, whatever you want to do. Going under accounting, though, I no longer see AR. AR is not even visible. I couldn't even get to it if I wanted to because it does not exist as far as what my rights tell me. I still see the accounting procedures and the 2013 budget, so all those are still all there. And in accounts payable, I can do anything I want in here. So payable procedures. or a new folder for contacts, whatever I want to be. So I'm able to, do anything I want. I can right-click on trustees, and I can see that I can do anything in that folder because I have all rights. Read, write, erase, create, modify, and file scan. Trying somebody else. Elizabeth is in receivables. So let's log in as Elizabeth. And now I'm in this directory, and the AP switched to AR. So I no longer see the AP directory. Now all I can see is the AR. And under New Folder, Contacts. Of course, I can still see the budget folder and the accounting procedures, and I have all those rights there. So I have all rights in all these folders. I just can't even see the accounts receivable. Going back to, I'm sorry, Andrew. I can see both of those directories. I can see other contents. I'm able to view the contents of those documents. I'm able to navigate those directories. I just can't do anything with it. If I try to delete it, it won't let me. If I try to create a new document, I'm unable to. So I can't do anything except see what's in there. But I can get to the payables and receivables. Questions? Yes. All of this stuff that we're doing with rights is being done with Remote Manager. I did have to fix a user under iManager, but I'm doing everything under Remote Manager. You can do it under some of these things under iManager. You can do some of these things with Windows Explorer, which we just looked at before. I just really like working with Remote Manager. So to work with these again, just looking at the accounting folder, I click on Data for the data volume. And then if I want to work with the rights at this level, and then just switch back to the slip right here. Here's the accounting folder up on top, and on the right-hand side, I'm listing my trustees. So the left column is the folder, the right are the trustees. So for the accounting folder, I want the account organizational unit to have all rights. To do that, I click on the little info button next to account, and this is exactly what it shows. So if I was going to add somebody else to this list, all right, now I just have here, let's do it this way. I'll just delete accounting. We'll bring accounting back. So I'll delete accounting, and I want to add accounting to this list. And so I click the Browse button, and I want to find the accounting container, organizational unit accounting, Benfield Tree, Goropa, and here's the accounting container, account.goropa. We know it's a container because we can go into it. If it's not a container, we can't go into it. So we're going to click the object on the left-hand side, though, and then it fills it in this blank. We need to click Add Trustee then. It brings up, well, okay, you want to add a trustee. What rights do you want to give them? When it brings up the list, then we just click OK on here, and it adds it to this list right here. So this is what it just, oops, not there. It just added this line right now. If I want to modify these rights, I click on the rights themselves. It brings back the list, so I want to get rid of create and erase. And now you have RWMF. Oh, I want to put those back. I click on the link again, and I've add those back in here. You can add them back in. Okay, good.